It's good to hear good news, if you know what I mean. Laura, you ready to rock and roll?
Let's get started.
So by way of introduction, Laura Spear, everybody, is the incoming public image coordinator for Zone 32. Nikki Medeiros couldn't be with us tonight, so she's apparently acting as Nikki's stunt double. We have 5 calls to action for you this evening. They're going to be presented to you one at a time in question format, or I should say CTA format, call to action. And what we'll do is talk a little bit about them. Laura and I will play a little badminton to hit it over the net to each other, and then we're going to open it up for conversation. We're looking for specific examples of how to do what's being suggested in the CTA. So this isn't complicated, but there are 5 specific ways that we've come up with that we can help each other cross-pollinate. So put in plain terms, Laura, this is the PI team serving the foundation team better.
And not just the foundation, but all of the coordinators. And this is audience participation. So we are not going to be lecturing or showing slides. We want you guys to do all the work. So we're going to do the setup and we expect you to participate. Yeah. All right, take it away,
just
Michael.
Just to complete all those combinations, it's PI helping foundation do a better job. It's the foundation helping membership do a better job. It's membership helping PI do a better job. I don't know, there are 6 or 7 different combinations here, and we could do a better job of this. So I call it cross-pollination because we have these 3 silos: foundation, membership, or new club initiatives. And the third one is PI. And so the thing on the table tonight is how can we best cross-pollinate to help each other in the months to come, and of course in future years. So the first call to action, Laura, you want to get us started with number 1?
Sure. So number 1, drum roll, make a BFF. And everyone knows what that is. Okay, best friend forever, with someone on your zone public image team. So we need you to feed that person content, factoids, updates, announcements they can share, maybe service projects that leverage foundation funding. So things like district grants, global grants, polio eradication efforts and projects and participation. I can keep going on. So what we would love are your ideas of how you can connect with someone from the public image committee in your zone.
And if I may, well, thank you, Doug, you'll be first. If I may, as a precursor to this, the reason that this is so important, everybody, is because no matter how good our zone newsletter is, and it's pretty good, and no matter how good our Facebook, our paired zone Facebook group is, and it's pretty good, they have limitations. You can only push the same message through so many times before people get message fatigue. You're not getting to the people that aren't plugged in on Facebook. There are people that are not receiving notifications from the Facebook group, right? It's not a very efficient way to do things. And we know that if we practice overlapping messaging to all of the different modalities, we're going to get a lot more eyeballs and a lot more attention. So the newsletter and the Facebook page can only do so much. We're asking, and Doug's going to get us kicked off here with ways that you can find somebody on the zone PI team. You were either in 32 or 28. How many people on the 32 team now, Laura?
Oh, on public image?
Yes.
There are about 5 of us total right now. And I'm unofficial. I'm just incoming. So that includes me.
That's all right.
And with us today, I will put a plug. We have Robert Friend and we have Melissa Ward Rathbun. And so, yes, we have 3 of us on this call today. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining.
Brilliant. And we have 10 assistants on the Zone 28 team, and Mary Lou Harrison is with us. She's, by the way, going to be a public image coordinator starting next year. So she'll be Laura's counterpart. I'm looking quickly at the dais here to see who else we need to recognize, Mary Lou. Anybody else on our team with us tonight?
We have regrets from Andrea, who's dealing with a COVID communication issue in BC for work, but she would have been here. That's who all I see right now.
And I see Dan Dubray just.
Oh, Dan. Yay, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Yep.
So
second screen, bottom corner. Hey, Dan.
Doug Logan, take it away, man. What's your suggestion and easy example for connecting with the PIT?
Well, I have an amazing story for you. Taylor Eskew is the immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Chinatown, New York City, who so just a really quick background. We've done a study on clubs that grew during the pandemic and have just completed a series of interviews with a sampling of those presidents. And that club grew by creating a satellite as a result of using a foundation grant to engage people in their particular community. So it is a perfect illustration of how all three elements work together. And Herb and I were so turned on by that story that we've already recommended it to Rotary Magazine, but it's just a perfect example of what you want to do.
Love it. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Other examples from the floor? You
I
can
have
go
an
ahead.
example.
Yes, Ingrid.
What I think is the perfect opportunity for all of us to work together and promote is the gala coming up.
Yes, 100%.
All
can
hands
we do
on
that,
deck for
Ingrid?
that one.
How can we do that in ways that we're not currently doing it?
Lots of different ways, I think. We certainly can use the newsletters, but I think sometimes just direct action or conversations with people that we know that are influential to let them know, and then also give examples of how well we did with the gala last year.
Yep. Peter Schultz is on with us. I know he's one of the brain trust for the foundation. Maybe Peter can give us some feedback on this, because he knows when he sees all of the traffic, he understands which of the posts and which kinds of posts get him the most yield. One idea, Peter, that we know works is, instead of sharing that same infographic, as good as it is, over and over and over again ad nauseum, we can isolate individual speakers and talk about them separately, correct?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope to put together a kit of a lot of things. We currently have 5 videos that aren't all publicly broadcast yet. So Sean Hogan is spearheading the marketing for this gala event, and we've provided him with these 5 videos, and he's in the process of putting other ideas together. He has a great idea of reaching out to past Vice President Bob Scott to ask him whether he would be on the market block as somebody willing to come speak at your club. So they'll do an early bird draw, that kind of thing. He's got some great ideas for that. But you know, I'd like to tell you, I think the most useful thing that Public Image could do for us is to help us make connections. I just updated our spreadsheet. We are trying to avoid putting the word out through traditional means. And by the way, a nod to Bruce Goldson, because he sent a newsletter out that was updating the entire zone on polio, and the ad for the foundation was at the bottom, and that drove a lot of traffic. So that was fantastic. But we would like to have an individual in every district, and we've reached out 2 or 3 times, so that we can have a limited number of friendly people that want to receive regular emails and updates and share ideas about best practices for sharing and promoting the gala. We have some new fun stuff that I think most of you know about, but I think at our very first meeting, Drew came up with the idea of having an in-person hybrid sort of hop around the zone tour. And we're going to start with that, but we need to be able to reach into the districts and have them say, you know, if you've got an in-person party going on, please let us know. So people, the individual people in each district. Thank you.
Okay, great. And I might suggest this: if you're having trouble getting volunteers in the traditional manner, when you tag people on Facebook, they're remarkably responsive. They think the message is for them. So if you're having, and I recommend this, if you're trying to promote something, just think of 5 people. Malcolm Gladwell calls them sneezers in the book Tipping Point. Sneezers are the people, this is a very untimely thing to say right now, but this is way before COVID. Sneezers are the people that can infect the rest of the people with your enthusiasm. So by tagging people in your posts, and you don't want to ghost them. You don't want to, tag 50 people because it always looks like spam. But say I'm tagging 5 Rotarians who I know would help me get the word out on this. So you're giving them a little nod, and then they respond for you. Maybe not all of them, but 3 or 4 of them. Mary Shackleton, is your hand up or?
It sure is.
I'm not used to seeing people actually raise their real hand. So I'm so glad I asked you. How are you tonight?
I'm fabulous. Thank you. How are you, Michelangelo?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Did you have a comment or a question?
Well, I have a comment or a suggestion, and I don't know if it falls in this sort of one of the 5 discussion points.
Sure.
I think one of the things that would be really nifty to have, and I could help maybe put some pieces together from stuff that I've done, to have a front to back public relations campaign profile. Like, so say you're promoting, you're promoting the Zones Gala. So you start in, say, September. Here are things you should be doing in September, and here are some examples of what you do in September. Then move on to, say, November. What should you be doing in November? Talk about, do you pay to boost posts on social media? I mean, actually have a front to back plan, I think would really help people put this into context. One of those toolkits that are so useful. And I think sometimes we as more experienced Rotarians also need a toolkit ourselves. And I think that would be very helpful to have for the group. And also just collecting, by now we have connections to media, to folks working on Rotary Voices blog, and having some sort of clearinghouse for that kind of stuff would be really great too. And last but not least, I want to say how proud as punch I am of the Chinatown Rotary Club. The last meeting of theirs that I was at, the Satellite Club organized the event, and they are actually a dual language club. They speak Cantonese as well as English in that club. So they're just an awesome group of people. And these are primarily restaurateurs and business people who were served by a global grant and wanted to become Rotarians, part of the solution. So it's just awesome.
Thank you, Mary. Before we go too far down this trail, and I think it's an awesome idea, does anybody else have access to this type of a marketing calendar that Mary's referring to? Has anybody seen one? Have you created one yourself? Robert, you've got something? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said, Mary. And I think it's important because I think there are a lot of clubs out there that just don't know how to do things. And I think that's what you're kind of referring to. In District 7890 and 7980, starting in the new year, we're actually in the midst of it now. We are doing a Rotary Day of Service for over 100 clubs at the same weekend, April 9th. And it's kind of like the Million Mass Challenge Tour. We're all coming together. There's going to be media events the day of. We're compiling a tremendous amount of information about service projects. And we're actually putting together what you said, Mary, a club package. And we're going to hand it to them end of January. And we're going to train them on how to use it. And it will be in their club toolkit, in perpetuity. But we'll be doing media events leading up to it. Our goal is that when the district committees, the multi-district committees launch everything March 1 from a public perspective, we step back and we really just deal with the master media event activities. But at that point, the clubs take it over and they drive everything. And so it's really a training effort. But I think you're absolutely right on. We need to give the clubs the material. Some of them know how to do that, but a lot of them don't. And we need to start educating our club leaders on how to really utilize the resources, whether it's a media alert, a press release. Give them a template. We have a whole social media portion of this that's going to be creating content that we will pass out and then allow them to do exactly what you said, Michael, which is tagging as well as retargeting. And it's going to be, I think, a very important part of raising the image. And alongside that is a huge media sponsorship with iHeartRadio across both states, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and also we're heading towards the billboard route as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces, but it's all about giving the clubs the ability to drive it on their own.
I love it. Thank you, Robert. So Mary, let's talk offline about this idea. I can contribute a 100-day marketing schedule that I've been using for my events, both for my consulting business and also when I do work for Rotary. And it actually stipulates 90 days out what you should be doing, 80 days out, 70 days. I even created a spreadsheet that has pre-organized Facebook posts. So you just assign those posts. You're not leaving anything to chance. And all the posts have a link to the event. I mean, it's really knocked out. So I'm happy to talk to you about that. And Robert, if you'd like to be part of that, I'd always love working with you. Thank you so much. Bruce Goldson has a comment, please.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Good evening, everybody. And I have to drop off in a second here, but some of you know that Sue and I, my wife Sue and I, are the zone communication chairs. And so we frequently are asked to send out an email to whoever, club president, or well, we can't do club presidents. We can do district governors elect. We can target different folks. But I want to urge you, when you're planning whatever it is that you're planning and you want to reach the Rotarians, to make sure you do it with precision and with massive intent. Because when we try and broad brush and send it to large swaths of Rotarians, we have a couple of issues with that are unintended consequences. And one of them is unsubscribes, because we use a database that to comply with Rotary International and with GDPR and other privacy issues, people are allowed to opt out. And if they get messages that don't apply to them, even though some of us think that every message that we send from Rotary should apply to every Rotarian, they don't. So they end up saying, oh, this is spam, I don't want to see this. Or this is something that doesn't interest me, I don't want to see it. And then we lose them forever. And that is a shame. So instead, what we really need to do is, in our planning, we need to look at who are the real intended customers for whatever our message is. And then be hyper sensitive to how we're going to target those people. And those people could be different from message to message to message. And what Robert was just talking about is a wonderful outreach program in the Connecticut and Massachusetts areas, but that's for external customers. But the internal customers are the ones we have the most problem with, because the people on this call are part of the 1%. We're part of the people that care the most about what we do and about Rotary and about everything that Rotary does. But the 99% go to a meeting or go to a service project and they're done. And the rest of it really doesn't apply to them. And so I think in your discussions and your planning and your strategies, it's really critical that you try and do this kind of laser beam focus technique into everything that you can, because otherwise it just ends up becoming me over time and everybody tunes it out. That's my 2 cents. And that's from over a year's worth of watching the metrics of how these messages are received or not received. So sorry for the interruption.
And by the way, Bruce and Sue do such a good job. One of the things that they have to do is play traffic cop. Imagine how many requests they're getting. Can't you just send this email out to 72,000 people? And you're going to have to get in line for it, because these emails are staged, and he can't be sending an email every day for the unsubscribe reason and other problems, workload, all kinds of stuff, bounces, all kinds of issues. So let's use Social Clever and let's develop our own databases. We're able to do that. And we're going to get going here with question number 2 so we can stay on schedule. I put my email, Mary, and my cell phone number in text, and Laura's going to read question number 2, call to action number 2.
All right. So the best content specifies specific, not to be redundant, Rotarians. Okay, group achievements are wonderful, but remember, there are ways to recognize individual Rotarians, even as simple as birthday greetings or thank yous. They're a powerful way to get their engagement and to acknowledge them. So what ideas do you have to help going across all of our coordinator responsibilities to recognize individual Rotarians?
I can think of a social media platform that actually prompts you with Rotarian birthdays. Anybody know which platform I'm talking about? Carol, you're nodding your head.
Facebook.
It's Facebook. Every morning, Facebook tells me all my Facebook friends that have birthdays. Many of them are Rotarians. I can very easily go to my favorite Facebook group, which these days is the Zone 2832 Facebook group, happiest of birthdays to so-and-so, and I tag them so they see it. And then 1,000 people glom onto that message. And it's a fantastic way to stay in touch with people, make them feel good, and you're not asking for something every single time. So these congratulations, we know that Shirley Pat just earned her PhD. Facebook her tomorrow, and watch all the people just delight in her achievement. And they get to know her as a person and not just a Rotarian. Who else has a contribution on number 2? Spotlighting specific Rotarians. I can tell you in PI, we are tired of correcting people on the damn logo. I mean, we're wearing out our welcome. So I've just started now to focus on people's new haircuts or something that has a little bit more goodwill, or new beards, right, Hadi?
Mary Lou, I think I saw your hand up.
You did, Laura. So I'd like to expand this a little bit if I could, to not just spotlighting Rotarians, meaning both Rotaractors and Rotarians. So just a little plug for Rotaractors because they're better networked than all of us. And that'll get your post a lot of traction, especially if it's on something like Instagram, but also to include our partners. So a number of clubs in the Greater Toronto area, we volunteer at something called the Fort York Food Bank. And there was a Sunday recently where we had Rotarians, Rotaractors, members of Africans in Partnership Against AIDS, and Toastmasters. And so in our social media posts, I tagged them all and their organizations to really get a sense of that Rotary as the go-to organization that was mentioned earlier, that brings all of these amazing people together.
Love
So
it.
just to expand that a little bit out to spotlight, in addition to Rotary, who our partners are.
Excellent.
And
Thank you, Andy.
oftentimes they will reciprocate as well,
They do. They do.
or share. Yeah.
Yeah. And from that last food bank opportunity, we had one person who's been sort of thinking about Rotary for a while, who's now said, I now need to know more. And 2 people from the Africans in Partnership Against AIDS who said, how do we get to be you? We want to be you too.
It's a membership tool. Oh my.
What? I know. Well, look at us working together.
Let's do number 3. Laura?
All right, number 3, make the most of your communication skills. That means constantly seeking out and cultivating new talent in our zones, not just us who keep doing the same things, but looking for others to expand our reach. And we want to avoid that communication bottleneck. So you have the power to push out good information to the people you know and the people they know through like social media. So ideas, thoughts about that?
I consult the tip jar quickly. Laura mentioned that our younger Rotarians and Rotaractors are really good at networking. They got the super thumbs going. They can text 1,000 words a minute, but they're not the best at picking up the phone. And by the way, we're losing that skill too. We get lazy and just text people, and all kinds of stuff gets lost in text and email, including someone doesn't respond and then you think they don't like you. So call people and get the conversation going, and let's stop cocooning, because the world's opening up again and it's time for us to get back to all of our good habits. Other thoughts on using all of your communication skills?
Don't underestimate the skill of listening.
Absolutely. Mary Lou, you have something?
I wanted to say that I really agree with Melissa, that I heard her. I work for a church that's also a National Historic Site, and we had an event on the weekend, and it happened to come to my attention that someone posted photos, and then someone had a negative comment about the event. And it was really, she was hurt that she didn't know Santa was going to be there. Now, truthfully, we didn't know Santa was going to be there either. He was a surprise guest, but it had to do with timing, because if she had known, she would have stayed and she would have, whatever. So I just wrote, I figured out the facts and then just wrote a little note in the comments saying, thanks so much for your comment. We'll keep that in mind for the next event. And she wrote back, thank you for hearing me. I didn't defend our decision. I could have said, well, the people who were singing had to have lunch, so we couldn't have it at 1 o'clock. You know, no point to that. I just heard her, and people appreciate being heard.
Love it. Thank you. Quick story. I was asked by the Great Lakes Pets Committee to get the 10 assistant RPICs from Zone 28 to come facilitate at Great Lakes Pets in Kalamazoo. As soon as I heard the suggestion, I thought, I don't think you want that, because that's 10 people that you have to pay for to get out there. You don't know where they're coming from. They're all over the fruited plain and Canada. And very quickly it was scaled down to only 3, and with a caveat, all 3 had to hail from the 6 districts that attend Great Lakes Pets. I'm not sure how they came up with that, but it ruled out 9 of my assistants. Only 1 of them is in that territory. So I posted on Facebook that I'm looking for PI talent. They have, and I was very specific, they have to come from these 6 districts, and they have to be available to go to Kalamazoo, and they're going to pay for your travel. And you have to have some facilitation skills, and you have to have a phone call with me to get to the next level. And we had the other 2 candidates within 2 posts of probably 5 days. And I didn't know anybody. And I now have the complete staff that I need. So by applying these tools and the right timing, you can almost make anything happen. Excellent. Let's do number 4.
All right, repurpose content. So if you're going to take the time and the effort to write an article or create a presentation or some tips and best practices, make sure it shows up in multiple places, not just the Zone newsletter, but maybe the Rotary blog. Maybe you can put excerpts on the website or on a social media post. You can share it with the district public image, the foundation chairs or the membership chairs, and you can adapt it. So leverage your content. So anybody have examples or ideas or suggestions for how to do that?
Alyssa.
It's actually one of my favorite topics. Maybe it's because I'm secretly lazy. So if you do a PowerPoint presentation, you can save it as an MP, as a video file. You can also take the information from a PowerPoint presentation and you can convert it into a blog post. If you have done a video, you can slice it out and the audio can be imported into some type of a podcast or something different. And if you've looked at your Facebook pages, you'll see that they are now importing podcasts into Facebook pages. So you have yet another medium to be able to get a message across. Videos, say it again.
I love it.
Oh, videos can be, of course, natively uploaded to Facebook. But if you want to embed them into your website, the best place for them is YouTube. And you can even use a transcription service to create a blog post out of a video. So it's not just taking one piece of content and putting it into a bunch of different places. It's taking one piece of content and converting it into multiple formats to be able to, a lot of people need to receive messages in different ways. Some people are very visual, some people like to read. So by taking a piece of content and using it in different ways, you just give that many more people the opportunity to be able to see it or hear it.
Love it. And one of the best things about this type of a free forum, Melissa just gave me another great idea, is that you've got a PowerPoint presentation, you could post the individual slides as a Facebook post, right? If you have a 10-slide show, all 10 slides aren't going to speak equally. find the 5 that really carry the presentation and share them individually so that you can kind of pace it out or space it out. It's a fantastic way to roll. Other tips? How many of you have a Mac or Apple product at home? Hands up, thumbs up. So the screenshot on a Mac is simple. It's a command. It's called the claw, Command, Shift, and the number 4. Once you get used to this, it's super easy. And then you use your right hand to create the square, of what you want to save on the screen, and it creates an instant JPEG. So any website, any page, you create this instant JPEG, and now they're saving as HEICs, but you can figure it out. And then you share that to social. You have to use a snippet program or an add-on on PCs. Does anybody know more about that than I do? Hadi?
Yes, just like a snippet, as you mentioned it. You just clip it and size it and save it as a JPEG and post it. It's
Love it.
not that hard.
Easy peasy.
I have to find the name, but I have this little app on my laptop where I just hit the print screen. And it's literally just, I can shape, I can add arrows, I can draw on them.
Yeah, beautiful. Well done. Okay, anything else about repurposing content? All this stuff can go into presentations too, right? Talking points for presentations. Beautiful. Okay, let's finish up. Number 5.
All right, number 5, bringing down the home stretch here. Monitor your message mix. So what we're trying to do is shake it up a little bit, mix it up. So frequency, the variety of how people find your content, alternate between short content and long, video and static, text, and anything that would keep engagement going. If you have the same old thing time after time after time, people get bored. And so we don't want that to happen. We want that engagement. And again, this goes across all the stuff that we do. So make sure you mix it up. Anybody have any ideas or examples of how you might mix it up?
What is how do you gauge engagement on Facebook? How do you know when a post has, quote, good engagement? Does anybody have a scorecard for this? Well, we know when it gets a lot of comments or a lot of love, right? What's a good number? I mean, I shoot for 10 pieces of engagement. Is that a good number? If every post that you did got 10 things, 10 responses from people, what are we talking about? A comment, a share, a like, or an emoticon. Those are the only 4, right? So I shoot for 10. Sometimes I get 20, sometimes I get 80. If I put the redhead in there, I get 100, right? Which makes me mad, boy. She's my super secret weapon. And by the way, for me, it's a scorecard. So check this out, guys. A share to me is worth 5 points. A comment is worth 4 points. Share's worth more because if they share it, then everybody in their stream sees it. So that's worth more. A comment is worth 4 points. A like is worth 3 because a comment's better. A comment is a sentiment of some sort. An emoticon is only worth 2. And if they do nothing but read it, it's worth 1 point. And we know we get all 5 types of responses from people. So I want to create a post that's so special that I'm getting 10 pieces of love from somebody, and that the bulk of those pieces are shares. That's how I know I've hit a home run. I mean, everybody does it differently, but let's talk about it. We've got a few minutes here. How do you do it? What do you think?
Michael, this is Robert. One of the things that's real important in what you're talking about is being very specific. I call it match the pitch with the prospect. It can be match the content with the audience, being very target focused. And that way you'll get the response you're talking about, because I think that that's real important. I mean, I don't have a story to tell. I think that I've just known that this is where you're going to get the most responses. And the other thing that's happening a lot is we all know about influencers. And I don't know if anybody watches TikTok. I watch it religiously. I can get caught up in it. And it's amazing how much you can talk, what kind of story you can tell when you're in that kind of an environment. And if we can tell those kind of stories, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, or if we start using TikTok, I think TikTok's a medium we haven't even begun to touch, and that could be extremely powerful.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Mary Lou mentioned short videos. What's short, Mary Lou?
Well, it depends what the video is about. So for example, at St. Anne's, when we were in lockdown and not worshiping in person, we did worship videos that were like 45 minutes. They got reasonable response. But when we started to go back to in-person worship, that response started to tail off. So we learned that people had maybe 45 minutes to an hour that they were willing to spend on church. And when they were back at church, they were no longer interested in watching 45-minute video. So over Advent, which is the season we're just ending up, we have done 4 10-minute videos, each one on a theme: peace, love, hope, joy. So if you're thinking Rotary Foundation now, think of the 7 areas of focus and do something short.
Yep.
If the audience is not a Rotarian audience, they need to be 3 to 4 minutes. If the audience is a Rotarian audience and you're trying to share a great project idea or be inspiring, you could probably have 8 to 10 minutes. So the length of the video depends on what it is and who you're pitching to, as Robert said.
I agree. And, you know, there may not be a right answer. It would depend on how great the video is too, all kinds of things.
And
I can
and
tell
for
you, as
us-
somebody who's posted 1,000 videos to my YouTube channel, 2-minute videos are a sweet spot for me. I mean, I have plenty of long form videos, but in 2 minutes, I can get you a pretty good lesson. Think the average person speaks about 150 words a minute. So I speak pretty quickly. I can get you almost 500 words of content, and it's a pretty good message and an introduction, the message itself, and a wrap up or a CTA, and we're good to go. It's excellent. Think about it this way, guys. The automobile manufacturers can sell you a car in 30 seconds. Why do we need to create promo videos for discounts that last nearly as long as the discount itself? Why do we do that to ourselves? You know, edit, man, edit. It's your best friend. Mary Lou.
Can we ask Shirley Pat to tell us about the Rotary PSA Festival? Because this is just an amazing, mind-blowing thing.
Sure thing. And then Tracy, and then Drew, maybe.
I'll take 30 seconds to do this. I put the link in the chat. Check it out. This is a group from the Philippines, Makati Rotary Club, partnered with the Little Club of Mountain View out of Vancouver, and they partnered with the film school. And these students created over 500 30-second videos on the 8 areas of Rotary focus, which were narrowed down to 5 in each category, which were judged, thankfully, not just by me, but experts in the field, because that's not my area of expertise. And there was one that was picked as a winner, and you can check it out at the link there. 30 seconds. The messages these kids got through blew my mind, warmed my heart, and made me cry and laugh.
Philippines has it going on with PI. That's the second time in 6 months they've rocked me with their PI efforts. By the way, you can click that link right now. It'll open in your browser and be waiting for you after the Zoom meeting. So don't worry about losing it in chat. Click it now, it'll open. Tracy, you had something?
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. Just something that's also coming to mind right now is in the season we are right now, we're seeing, you mentioned, Michael, car videos. Shirley Pat's mentioned our Rotaract videos. They're inspirational. They grab you from the heart. So we know when we look at our videos and our short messaging and under that 30 seconds, how we can inspire and empower people to be just amazing. So, loving Shirley Pat, your story, and I'm really fortunate I get to work with Shirley Pat very regularly on our triangle of awesomeness, and it is so amazing. And, as we go forward, we're continuing to look at how we can inspire and just really, really empower. So just you triggered that in me when you mentioned, Michael, around, the car dealerships. There's some pretty amazing ones out right now, and we could duplicate those very easily.
I love it. And the triangle of awesomeness, it's at first you see it and you go, what the hell is this? But it's interesting and you want to know what it is. Why isn't a hexagon of awesomeness?
Because we are amazing as a triangle. We are all connected.
Okay, I wasn't really asking.
And there's no silos with it.
All right, any wraparound comments before we hand it off to Director-elect Drew, who's going to kind of summarize, wrap up, and kiss us goodbye? Anybody else have something to contribute with PI? Have you enjoyed the session today? Did you get some good ideas? Thumbs up if you got at least a couple of ideas. We really want to help you guys, so don't be shy. Remember, the public image team cannot promote the new club that you're forming unless we know about the new club that you're forming. And one easy way to tell us, you don't even have to call me, post it in the Zone Facebook group, tag me or your favorite PI person on 32, it doesn't matter. And then we get it right away. So you're letting everybody else know and you're letting me know, or whoever, your favorite PI person, at the same time. And then we're going to tentacle, spider off and do our good work. But until we know about it, we can't help, right, Laura?
Agreed.
Okay. And unless there's anything else you want to talk about, we're going to get you out of here right on time tonight. I'm having salmon salad. Drew Kessler, you've been
just a
patient,
comment.
man. I know you have a lot on your mind.
Well,
On point number 3, I loved your comment about most of us don't even know how to pick up the phone and have a phone conversation anymore.
Yeah.
And most of us have forgotten cursive writing. I found probably the greatest response I had my year as governor is I sent hundreds of handwritten notes.
Yeah.
And everybody commented on how it made them feel. And that is a tool I think that we seldom use as well. Sorry.
Thank you, Carol. It's worse than you know. There are people not even learning cursive language and cursive handwriting anymore, which makes you wonder how they sign their names. All right, over to you, Drew. How you been, man?
I'm doing great. And I just want to first commend you and the team, specifically Laura and Mary Lou, for this format. Really, really awesome to be able to have this interactive approach. And my hope is going forward, we can do a lot more of this. I think this is a really good way to learn from each other, because it all comes down to collaboration. And I'm loving the triangle of awesomeness, because that's really been the vision. Valerie and I have sought out for now some time, that we have groups working together to get into our districts and really have the districts realize the value of the resource and the triangle of awesomeness. I see a t-shirt being created as I'm saying the words, because I just think it's great. So I think the more and more we can do to promote that, and the interaction, right? It all comes down to, being part of the conversation as opposed to being told. We have some really, really great things coming up, to wrap up this Rotary year, and obviously coming into the next Rotary year. I will always be so appreciative for all that this group does, because, I really understand the work that goes into what you're doing, and I appreciate the level that you're putting into all this, and really it's in the efforts to grow Rotary, right? And it's to make sure that our membership, prospers, both those that we have within our ranks, as well as those who we're looking to bring in, and all the phenomenal work that our foundation does. It's amazing. So we're all blessed, that we have the holiday season upon us, and that we hopefully have family and friends around us. And I wish you all nothing but the best in the coming weeks, the coming months, a wonderful, amazing 2022. I hope it turns out better than 2021, which I think was better than 2020. So we're moving hopefully in the right direction. And whether it be sooner rather than later, I truly believe this group somehow, some way will come together in person, and let that be, for some, it might be at IA, for others, it might be at COL, but at Beyond Borders, the Rodeo Roundup in Houston is going to be a really, really awesome event that I hope everyone on this screen can attend, and we can do the hugs and the kisses and everything in person, and let that be the first of many, many times that we get together in the coming years, when we get past the current situation. So thank you. I wish you and your loved ones all the best, and I look forward to working with you in the coming years. Have a great night and a great holiday season.
There's a saying in Rotary that all Rotary stuff happens at the club level, and that we're a grassroots organization. I just want to thank the people at the top. I want to thank Director Valerie and Director-elect Drew Kessler, because I get a lot of energy from the top of the org chart. And we're so grateful that we have such plugged in, intelligent, professional people at the helm this year. Thank you so much for all you're doing and all you're about to do. We want to wish everyone on the call tonight a very happy holiday season. We hope everybody stays safe and warm. And we've got some good work to do in January. So thank you very much for getting some rest in advance. And thank you for all you do for the greatest service organization in the world. Happy holidays, everybody.
Take care all.